Stage 4 rolls through the urban landscape of the West Midlands, from Wolverhampton, one of Britain's newest cities, to Millennium Point in Birmingham. The stage does take the cyclists through some of the beautiful countryside in this part of the world. Cannock Chase is an area of outstanding natural beauty and attracts thousands of visitors every year who come to enjoy the fresh air, the wildlife and a variety of different activities. Once a great medieval royal hunting forest, the area is now freely accessible to everyone and is crisscrossed by dozens of footpaths and bridleways. Well, from the peace and tranquility of Cannock Chase, it's back to the start at Wolverhampton, a city with historical significance in the cycling world, as it's the birthplace of former world champion and our race commentator, Hugh Porter.
Well, this is a historic moment as Stage 4 of the Tour of Britain rolls out of Wolverhampton, for this was the city where the first mass start race in England finished in 1942 after completing 58 miles from Llangollen. Well, this stage that's going to take the riders to Birmingham over a distance of 81 miles is sponsored by Birmingham Midshires, and these two enjoying the moment. Well, they reckon they were going to ride all the way.
Well, I think if they're lucky, they get to the next set of traffic lights, Hugh.
Well, there is the Molyneux football ground. Spent many a happy hour there watching the Wolves playing. And these are the riders now riding past the Midshires headquarters on the left there as they head on towards Bilbrook. And from Bilbrook it will be through to Cotsall, which will finally line them up for the main road into Shifnal and Shropshire. And the weather conditions today, cloudy, but it's warm. 8 riders have already gone clear, and it's a comparatively flat 81 miles ahead of them, an opportunity for one or two of the lowly place riders to bid for glory.
Well, that's what's happened here, Hugh, and you can see that all the teams are well represented, and that means that there's not going to be anybody left in the peloton who actually wants to chase it down. So these guys, there's enough of them to really share the work. You can see that they're committed, and this one could very well go all the way.
Well, that's Garratti at the back from Quickstep. He was taking some advice from the team car, and look at this at the back of the main field. One or two of the riders have got time to take pictures. That's Leon Van Bon of De Vitamon Lotto. He's a man that's won stages in the Tour de France and finished 3rd in the World Championships, but he's enjoying the Tour of Britain here.
Well, they can afford to let these riders get a few kilometres. They're not going to touch the overall classification, so it's all about the stage win today.
That was a T-Mobile sprint in Nosal, which is midway between Newport and Stafford, and there is the result confirmed. Van Summeren gets another useful 5 points. Well, the highest placed rider in the overall classification in this group, Chris, is Mark Cavendish, and he's over 20 minutes back in 30th spot. So the situation suits the CSC team in the yellow jersey. This is just what they want.
I think in that breakaway group, I think Mark Cavendish has got a very good chance if there's a sprint finish. Geraint Thomas, we haven't heard much about in this race so far. He's been playing a team role, very much so, but he's had a very good year this year, and he's probably one of the best road riders that we have up and coming at the moment.
Well, here are the bunch speeding through the grounds of Shugborough Hall, the former seat of the Earl of Lichfield, and now the advantage for the escapees is 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Well, I'm pretty certain that all of these riders are going to be happy to see the sun after all the conditions they've endured so far, and I think that's what made this such an active day.
Well, this is the climb through Cannock Chase. It's a modest climb, this one. It's only a 3rd cat, so there's 4 points for the rider at the top, and not a good time to have trouble. And Roger Hammond here is taking a new bike, so he's now got the chase in front of him.
He's had a few problems on this race, Roger Hammond, and he's lucky there. He's managed to get the change just before all of the convoy has gone past, so he'll be able to move between those cars and slowly edge his way back up to the main field.
Well, glorious sunny conditions for the racing today, and now the riders beginning to gather themselves as the summit of the climb is just ahead, and this is Cannock Chase. It's only a 3rd category affair, but the first rider over the top will pick up good points here, and that's Garratti that was over the top first. It's the first points that he has scored in the King of the Mountains contest. So the result of the Cannock Chase, it's Garratti that was over first, and second was Cameron Jennings from the DFL team.
bit of a formality for that group, Hugh. They're interested in the finish. That's what they're after today. And it's just another obstacle to get out of the way.
So they're getting nearer now to Birmingham as they get to the edge of Cannock Chase. What a glorious setting this is, and it attracts thousands of keep fit walkers and mountain bikers in the summer.
The wind's not too strong today, certainly not what we've seen in the last few days, but they're well protected in the trees there, so I don't think that's going to cause them too many problems today.
Paul Manning just coming through here, former World Team Pursuit Champion and the current Commonwealth Games individual pursuit champion. And this is the rider on the recycling squad, just coming to the head of the group, and that's Rob Partridge.
Well, they're settling down nicely into the pace now, and you can see that the bunch behind, well, they've decided that that's enough's enough, and this breakaway's had as much as they're willing to give them, and they're starting to push the pressure a little bit now and see if they can make some inroads.
So the lead is coming down fractionally here now, so the breakaway group will have to keep the pressure on. The bunch are trying to reel them in before the finish in Birmingham. Van Summeren on the front, just trying to inject a little more pace. Look like Aaron Thomas have got a problem there at the back. There's the result of the Learmonds Lee T-Mobile sprint, and first was Johan Van Summeren picking up more points. He's having a good day today in the pursuit of that jersey.
Going through the bottles as the weather's warmed up, so as the need for fluid has increased, so plenty going on board. Probably get through at least one of those bottles every hour.
So this is the shot of the main field now. The long thin line is beginning to develop from the front. That's always the telltale sign that the pressure is on, and it's Barlow World that is now doing the chasing.
Well, they're a team that missed out in this breakaway, so they've got some work to do if they want to get back in the race. Lead
now going up again. It's 4 minutes and 53 seconds, and you can see ahead the city of Birmingham, and there is Birmingham's equivalent to the Eye as one of the quick step riders here. Well, plenty of happiness in the quick step team here, Chris.
Yeah, I think they're just happy that the sun's come out and the race is on and everything's a little bit closer to the finish, so I think spirits are high all around today.
Well, this is the man that's had a good day today. That's Van Summeren. It's young Partridge, 20 years of age, comes from Wrexham actually, this young fella.
Well, he must be thinking what he's got to do today if he's going to have a chance of victory. He's not going to do it in the sprint, so he's going to have to think of something very clever to get rid of these riders. And there's some experienced hands in there, and they know what they've got to do to keep things under control.
CSC here, they'll be just keeping the field contained. They're all lined out, as you can see. The yellow jersey looks comfortable, no problems at all. Now then, we're back here to the Italian team car.
Explanation there of the finish, what the run-in's going to be like after they got caught out a few days ago.
Is the field just taking this island as we get ever nearer to the finish? There was the line that you could take to the right. I don't know if the markers indicated that, but this is the leading group again, and right at the back it's Cavendish. This is the man surely who must be the favourite for this one.
If he gets to the finish, because we've got just a few kilometres to go now, and I think that's Willems and Paul Manning of Great Britain. He's actually moved off the front there, and I think those two, they've got to get on it fast or they're just not going to get them back.
That's absolutely right, Chris, and this is what will take the sting out of the sprinting legs of Cavendish, and he won't find any allies in this group, so he'll be looking for a wheel to take him up, and it's Geraint Thomas that realises that gap needs bridging. Thomas is the one that's trying to get across, and in the wheel is Cavendish. Meanwhile, the field continue to roll along at the back. They're not bothered. It's not going to affect the overall situation.
Well, they're just keeping the pace high. They've got to get to the finish, and they have to keep this breakaway contained. Of course, they can't give them too much time.
So this is an attempt to get clear then by a couple of the skilled Shimano riders. Well, they're only going to be riding for 9th and 10th. There they are confirmed on the screen, and they're not going to bridge the gap. So 9th and 10th, well, I suppose they could just get valuable points in the green jersey points competition.
Well, I can only suppose it's for a little bit of publicity, because there's not great kudos in coming in those positions.
Absolutely right. Now then, these are the twists and turns through the city centre. and you can see that they are still fractionally ahead. The chase is still on here, fragmenting significantly the leading group.
And it's broken again, and that looks like Cavendish and Geraint Thomas who's managed to slip away. So can they bridge to the front two riders?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? 4 riders now clear, and in 2 sets of 2. The Shimano Skill boys are still having a go here. I can't see why, because they've only got about 25 metres over the main field, and they are not going to bridge to that breakaway group.
I think they're in their own private race there, but we'll get back to the front, and it's going to be an interesting finish here. Either of these two are particularly good sprinters, so in that way it's going to be quite evenly matched.
Well, Paul Manning was in the leading group that sprinted it out for first place in Nottingham 12 months ago, and he had to settle for 4th on that occasion. He told me before the stage start today that he was out to have a go for this one because he's a local man coming from Burntwood. Well, here they are, Chris, almost on terms now, Cavendish and Thomas.
Absolutely, and it's Cavendish the man. Oh, now that's dangerous on roundabouts with this far to go. If you go one side or the other, it makes a difference. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and it looks like Mark Cavendish made the right choice. But it looks like Willems who's got away.
He did. Willems and Cavendish took the short line round the island, and the 2 losers there, of course, were Manning and Thomas. And you can see the amount of distance that Cavendish has got to close to get on terms with Willems to try and snatch the stage, and they run out of distance. Willems takes the victory, Cavendish finishes 2nd, and the disconsolate Manning rolls over the line 3rd. Here comes 4th, Garate from Spain.
You were supposed to go, I think, round the correct way of it, but as it happened, Chocolate I cut the inside, so I thought, I'll do it. Like, you know, if there's no barriers there, you can do it. So that happened, and
Because that put you in front of Paul Manning, who I think was, well, possibly a little bit upset about the whole thing.
yeah, but that's how it goes, you know. And at the end of the day, I'd probably won in Liverpool if I hadn't have got a. You know, if they hadn't overshot the corner, well, that's bike racing.
Well, here comes the peloton, sprinting it out for 9th place. Russell Downing in the green jersey at the moment, just slightly ahead. But here comes Francesco Cicci of Italy. Cicci takes 9th place with a searing finish.
Belgium's Frederik Willems, the stage winner in Birmingham, crossing the line ahead of Mark Cavendish, with a disappointed Paul Manning in 3rd. Francesco Cicci leading in the bunch, and Russell Downing in 11th place, securing enough points to keep hold of the green jersey. Martin Pedersen in the yellow jersey also safely in and still leading the race. But it was Frederik Willems who came home in front to win stage 4, taking the advantage at the last roundabout coming into the finish.
Yeah, I got a good look at the racetrack, so at the finish. So in the book, and I knew the right side was shortest, so always take the shortest way.
You enjoy the stage win?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's my 4th win of the season, so it's nice.
Another visit to the podium for Russell Downing, who continues to lead the points competition on the tour.
Keep the jersey for another day, and hopefully the same again tomorrow, and then ride it in London and see what happens.
Johan van Summeren took the lead in the T-Mobile Sprints competition, winning all 3 of the day's intermediate sprints. And this is how the general classification looks after stage 4. Denmark's Martin Pedersen with a 51-second advantage over Luis Passamontes. Russell Downing, the best-placed British rider, in 8th. So the yellow jersey remains with Martin Pedersen from the CSC team. He was presented with the leader's jersey by Chris Pearson from Birmingham Midshire Solutions.
It'll be a hard day tomorrow, but yeah, the team is strong, so I hope to hold on to it.